Hello, welcome to St Andrew's Church here in Redruth. We are unable, sadly, to open this exhibition to the public because of the lockdown restrictions at the moment, but I'm very delighted that Linda Biskeen, who's put this together, is able to talk us through it.
Hello. I think you can see in the window here we have a large number of poppies, each individually named. In 2018, we decided to do a river of remembrance with individually named poppies for all of those that we knew that came from Redruth who had died in service in World War I and World War II. There are quite a large number, so they're in several of our windows. Marion researched these, and it includes the names of all those on the War Memorial, but she did discover about 15 other names of people who came from Redruth and has found their stories. And on this list here we have a roll of honour which includes first names and as much information as we can summarise. There is much more actual individual information that Marion holds as well. And in the First World War, Redruth had to sell and give a lot of horses to the war effort, so we have, of course, a poppy to remember the horses. And next to this, more of our names, and a small exhibition which we have focused on this year on the war effort that was made during the Second World War to raise funds to support the Navy, Air Force and Army. In 1940, there was a big effort to raise money for Spitfires. In 1941 to 42, it was decided to focus on the Navy, and areas were asked to hold warship weeks, was to raise funds to support the warships. Camborne-Redruth and Stithians were a single area, and their target was to raise 210,000 for a new hull for the ship Shikari. And here we have a plaque, a very large, heavy plaque, presented to Camborne-Redruth from the Admiralty with the Shikari shield. And you can see the Shikari is an Indian turbaned hunter. Urdu for hunter is Shikari, and this name was given really reflecting the links that the British Army had with the Indian Army. The British controlled the Army of India, and the Army of India, the Indian Army, provided 1.7 million people, combatants and support labourers, to fight in the First World War, and 2.5 million, the largest volunteer army in history, in the Second World War, so they were very important. And it was a name that was much more well known at that time. So the ship Shikari was well known for another reason too. We have here a summary of the work of the ship, the HMS Shikari. She was commissioned in 1917, but wasn't actually in operation until the early 1920s. In the Second World War, she was put on duty in the Atlantic, mostly escorting other ships that had to bring people and goods into the country. But in 1940, she was taken to Dunkirk for the rescue of the British Expeditionary Force at Dunkirk. And she was renowned there for being the last ship to leave Dunkirk. And here we have a picture of a painting by Isaac Berryman of the Shikari at Dunkirk. She also rescued the only person to achieve a DSO award from Dunkirk, which is Captain Marcus Erskine-Andrews, who was holding the Germans back to enable the troops to be rescued. Churchill said that he thought the work of the ships that were in the Battle of the Atlantic, which was the battle that the Shikari was in from 1939 until 1944, when she was replaced with more modern ships, he thought it was the most dangerous work of the war because they were constantly being attacked by submarines, and there's, the coastal ones, there was mine work. And so Shikari, being an anti-submarine ship, would have had her servicemen eligible for a special medal, which the Winston Churchill gave, which was a lapel badge, which we have a version of here in silver, which was issued to all those who were on minesweeping and anti-submarine work during the Second World War. In this smallish exhibition for this year, we have a number of the medals and DCLI insignia here. We also have a memorial that was given by the Wesley Church to those who returned, and it is a matchbox, a silver matchbox, engraved for each of those who went to fight and returned, many of whom had quite severe injuries. So that's not just a medal. Wesley is one of those places which has on its a memorial role in the church those who fought as well as those who died. So next year we hope that will be a more extensive collection. We have some more artefacts, and they come from the Redruth Old Cornwall Society Museum Collection. Moving on, we still have yet more copies, each of which represents an individual, and yet more as we go up here. So Redruth was hard hit. If I just turn around, it was hard hit in the First World War, and in the Second World War the town made an enormous effort. What the country was asked to do was to raise funds by saving in war certificates, and Redruth held its Warship Week, encouraging people to raise funds for war certificates, and we've got some information here which explains a bit more about that. The objective was to raise £210,000 to provide a new hull, enough to fund the Shikari's new hull. In fact, they raised 117,000 at least, more than that. And between the 1st of January 1940 and November 1942, Redruth raised £2.6 million, Redruth, Camborne and Stithians, I should say, which was the highest raised in Cornwall and reflects the dedication they had and the effort that was being made both by the people at home and by the people away fighting. So this is a small selection of some of the artefacts we have. We've had bigger exhibitions in the past, and we will have a bigger exhibition next year, so please do come and see us next year.